works. So let's talk at the normal sort of, we'll be talking at like this sort of loudness and not shouting, but we'll do this.
Testing 1 2 1 2.
7
breaking a key.
This is going to go in probably.
Yeah, thanks for that.
It's all good. Enjoy.
Yeah, thanks.
Ready?
I think so. Go on then.
Hey, what is going on YouTube? My name is James and welcome to another episode of It's Kibble Talks Watch. So today I'm joined with Senior Kibble. Kibble, I'm Junior Kibble. We're both. It's Kibble Talks Watches. It's our channel now.
It's Kibbles.
Kibbles and bits like the dog food.
Yeah.
There we go. So today I've got a few subjects in mind, but we're just going to see where it goes. Hopefully you can hear me okay, and hopefully the lighting isn't too bad. Unfortunately, we've been messing around for a while now trying to get it all working, and we've done our best, so hopefully it's watchable. I'm sure it is. But let's do a wristwatch check, shall we? What are you wearing today?
I'm wearing my new...
I'll put a picture up on screen for you guys.
New military Seiko 5.
Yeah, it's really nice. It's got
blue.
It's got the blue dial, red second hand, and I love that it's sandblasted. Like, I thought it was like titanium or something when I first saw it. It's really nice.
And it's got the open back as well, which is nice for the
7S26.
Yeah,
I'm really wanting this watch now. I'll get it in for a review. I'm gonna steal it off you eventually.
Yeah, eventually. No worries.
Today I've gone pretty typical Horus. I'm wearing the Arctic GT. You guys know I love this watch. First ever Swiss watch for me, and what can be said about it? It's
beautiful.
It's
beautiful watch.
Something else, and we're probably going to talk about this in Swiss watches during this video. But today, I want to talk about something that you've said to me, which is that now you've got this, because this is his latest acquisition, the Seiko 5 military watch. Yeah. You feel your collection's done now, right?
I feel it's complete. Personally, I've covered all the bases that I feel in the way that I collect, that I've got a watch for every occasion now, for whatever I want to do. You know, I've got a watch to wear.
I'll put up some pictures on screen as we're talking of his collection. I'll put up a picture of his collection as we talk. Roughly, you've got how many pieces? There's 4 over there, and
I've got 12 there, so
and 1 on your wrist.
So 1 on there, so
17 watches. So that is quite a large collection.
It is.
Yeah, it's definitely not a small collection.
No.
But yeah, as you can see from the pictures, you've got pieces kind of for everything. And what is your collecting philosophy? Because you were saying with how you collect, what do you mean by that?
I mean, the way that I collect is that it's really for that they're all serving a purpose, and they've all got some kind of history behind them, whether it's an early piece from the 40s and 50s. All the way through to modern pieces. I like to collect that have something a bit different, that aren't what you normally see on the street.
And the perfect example is the Orient I'll put up on screen now. It's got the date complication around the outside with like a red marker that goes around. Yeah, it's different. You know, it's lovely. I love that Orient. And you said you prefer it to your Mako in terms of being different.
It's a watch that draws me to, you know, that the dial is so unusual. I just haven't seen it in that form before, and I've not seen it since. I don't know if any other manufacturer have done that design. I've certainly not seen it.
No, I haven't either. If you guys have seen that sort of design on a different watch, let us know down in the comments, because it is a lot. It's different to like everyday watches, and it's really unique and different. And I do see that a lot with your collection. You know, the System 51, whilst it is the more common of the 51s in terms of the red, the blue, they're the common ones. It's still a unique piece. 51 pieces, machine made. It's kind of a disposable watch. You know, it makes it different. It's like a piece of horology history in a sense.
Yeah, I mean, it's the first fully automated manufacturing process, and just on that alone, it's something unique. And I think every collection should have that particular type of swatch. Whether it's an irony or whether, you know, the new ironies, that they've introduced, or the traditional plastic, because they're all fun.
Yeah,
they're
exactly.
all fun pieces, and as long as you get over the fact that it is disposable, that you can't service it, if that doesn't bother you, then it's a perfect watch.
I think it's also a great watch to, if you're in the YouTube, it's a great watch to sway all their movement snobs out of your videos, because the moment they see something like that, they'll be like, oh, that's too plasticky for me, and they just move on, which is good, because personally I don't like movement snobs, and I understand there's a lot of them out there and they have their reasons, but and from your collection, obviously you're not a movement snob. Like, you've got mix of quartz, you've got some, probably that Lotus has probably got a Chinese quartz in.
Probably. Yeah,
but it's a cool piece.
Yeah. Again, I like the history behind, because it's obviously the Lotus Motorsport, and the same with the Casio edifice, Red Bull Racing. They've all got something,
Some connection.
some connection, whether it's to do with the first chronographs, quartz chronograph, which obviously Seiko, we've both recently purchased.
The 7A38
with the day date complication, rather than the 728, where it's just a straightforward. I prefer it with the day date.
Same.
It's a more practical watch for me, because I like to have a date available, but I do like the Bauhaus style watches that are around, where it's very clean.
Yeah.
I collect for what I like and that I want to wear.
Yeah.
There's no point in having a collection that you feel, oh, I can't wear that. Because of the stigma behind it.
Yeah, and that's where I respect your collection. At the end of the day, you've got a Vostok in there, which I personally don't like, but I'm yet to review, and I'll give my opinions why. But at the end of the day, it's a solid watch. I can't deny that. The dial is beautiful, and you wear it. The whole point of a collection is it should be something you enjoy, and it's for you. It's a personal thing. No one can tell you your collection is wrong or right, although there's a few people on YouTube who do try and do that. Not going to mention any names. It's personal. You could have a collection completely of £2 eBay watches. It's your collection. If you get enjoyment out of it, who cares? That's the cool thing about a collection, in my opinion. And there's people out there with collection where each watch has to be at least 100 grand. Awesome, they can do it. Congratulations. That's the cool thing about collecting, and especially watches. Like, there's such a range of different things. I've seen collectors who have got £100,000 watches, and then in the corners there's like an SKX or a Monster, and it's like, perfect example. Jay Anthony, who we both watch, I know quite well. He loves his Monster just as much, if not more, than his Rolex GMT.
Yeah,
it says it all. That says it all. Another good example, Andy, the guy who this Oris once belonged to. He recently got the Grand Seiko. His son actually owns an SKX, but he recently got a Grand Seiko, and he loved it so much he went and got another one pretty soon after. And he's got a JLC and Rolexes, and he loves his Grand Seiko equally as much, and it just says so much about collecting. But anyway, we're swaying off point a little bit. So you feel your collection's done in terms of like the pieces you've got. I want to touch on that, because personally a collection is never done, and to further this point, we've just found out 330 vinyl records. Is that right?
Yeah.
330 vinyl records, that's a lot. And you said the last time you bought one was about 2 months ago.
It was about a month ago, yeah.
Yeah, and you started when you was like 13?
Yeah.
So that's a long spanning collection that's never finished, is it?
No.
And you'd never probably end it, would you? Like, it's
no.
never
No, I mean,
stop.
It's something that is a passion of mine. I love music. I can't play it, but I just love listening to different artists of all different genres.
Yeah.
And with going back to watches, it's something that I feel that having the various complications that I've got now, where I've got a technical watch in the Skyhawk that has almost every function you could think of.
And that's what started this, isn't it?
And,
You got that in Canada.
In Canada in 2005.
That's what started this whole thing.
And it's only in the last sort of probably the 3 years that I've really started to collect.
I think it's actually less than that. I think it's in the past 2 years,
right?
If that, because I only seriously got into it about a year ago, and we got into it around the same time. We started looking. It would have been about a year and a half ago, and I think that's when we got. You got the Seiko 5, I got a Seiko 5, Citizen Eagle 7, that kind of stuff, and that's what really kicked it off. Like seriously, so probably a year and a half you've acquired this collection, and I've acquired mine. You guys have seen mine in that time, so very short period of time, and it's good that you've filled them gaps. Now, what I want to ask you is, do you think you say you think your collection's done? I know we were talking earlier about. Because your Grail watch is the Omega Man on the Moon. It's pretty much been that for a long time now.
It has.
You think your collection's done, but you're going to save up for that now, right?
Yeah, I mean that's the intention now. Is to stop buying and to save up, and get the piece that'll complete everything that I've striven for and driven for. Since getting this interest of collecting watches, and I think with the history of the Omega, and being the complication it is, I love chronographs, I just feel that it would just finish it all off.
It'd be your Swiss, like true luxury Swiss piece as well in the collection. It's a Grail watch of yours, so it would really finish it.
Yeah.
Do you think after that, because you probably have that in a couple of years?
Hopefully.
Of saving.
Hopefully. Hopefully I'll get there.
And then once you've got that, do you think after that you'll go, you know what, that waiting 2 years or 3 years wasn't that difficult for something I really, really enjoyed? Do you think you'll then go, let's do it again and replace, I don't know, let's say your Orient Mako with a Submariner?
Right.
Do you think you'd then decide, okay, let's take this watch and let's get the better version?
I mean, personally, I don't strive for value.
No.
I know that a Submariner would, generate, an investment. I don't collect for that reason.
No.
That's why I've got a lot of Japanese pieces in there.
They hold the value pretty well, though.
Exactly, and we've seen in the recent months that prices are going up.
Them Eagle 7s that I rant on about all the time, and I've got one for sale right now, they're still going up.
Yeah.
Last time I had a look, I saw one go for £75.
Yeah.
And my white dial one, which needs a service, granted, but that one I've not seen go under £50, and I bought it for £12.
Yeah.
So that just says it all. Seiko 5s are going up, the vintage ones.
Yeah.
Because the popularity of the newer ones has also gone up.
Yeah.
So
I mean, with Seiko introducing the new Seiko line with that automatic, 7S26 movement in it, it's now drawn a lot of people into collecting automatic pieces, and they are looking now at the vintage, whereas before they had no interest.
No.
They went for the straightforward designer quartz. No interest at all in it was purely function,
even I'm seeing a change, and I recently got a job working a watch station, which is obviously mainly fashion brands. Yeah, they do Bulliver, Citizen, stuff like that, but it's mainly fashion brands, and I'm seeing people come in to buy. They come in with the intent to buy like a Michael Kors, and they walk out of a Bulliver, or they walk out of a Citizen. I'm seeing people change to kind of appreciate watches in the way they should be. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with Michael Kors or brands like that, or quartz, because I love quartz. I've got a quartz piece myself. I've got a few, but I'm seeing that transition to more traditional roots. Like they're starting to go, you know what? I want something that's got history. It's got potential in the future. And I really am noticing a big change in that, and I think that's a really, really great thing.
And I think the vintage pieces were, personally, I think they were better made than they were in the mass production world we live in.
Definitely. Just look at our 7A38s.
Yeah.
With a new battery, I thought mine was completely destroyed.
Yeah.
Really did. So did everyone in the videos.
Yeah.
Everyone says try a new battery, but it's not looking promising.
Yeah.
Put a new battery in, completely fine. The thing runs completely fine.
Yeah.
I don't think you can say that about many quartz watches, even from Seiko nowadays. Like, take it from that many years, never been serviced, never been cleaned, and still runs that perfect.
Yeah.
I don't think the Seikos of today, the quartz ones, would even do that.
No, I think they'd struggle to stay accurate. I mean, I tested mine, and it's perfect. I regulated it with the atomic clock, and it's perfect. It's still, even after 2 weeks, it's still ticking away exactly as it should be, and yet, it's.
And they're from what, like the 80s?
Well, the one I've got is 83.
I'll
so
put a picture up. So
it was the
very first.
It was like the very first iteration of the day date.
The 3.8. So for those of you that don't know, the 7.828 was the first ever non-digital quartz analog chronograph.
It was
right.
Yeah, it was like a mechanical
mechanical analog chronograph or something
Yeah.
along them lines.
Yeah.
And the 7A38 was the one they did after that, where it introduced the day date. That seems to be the only difference I've found.
Yeah.
The day date, which to me, and you as well, the 7A38 therefore is a better, even though the 7A28 has the history. So does this.
Yeah.
It's only what, a few years difference, like 3.
Well, yeah, and I mean the 7A28 was only introduced in 82, right at the end. Only right at the end of 82.
It's a couple of months maybe.
So it was only a few months that they then introduced the 7A38, and its popularity just rocketed.
I've seen them literally sell for 500 on eBay.
Yeah.
In good condition.
Yeah.
500 easily.
Yeah.
The black PVD one I've got, sometimes more if
Yeah.
the PVD's intact.
Yeah.
Mine's completely wrecked, but if it's intact, I've seen them go for a lot of money.
Yeah.
And I picked mine up after getting a refund because it said it was working. I picked mine up for £42 total.
Yeah.
And you was 60 something.
65.
Now, granted, my dad's is earlier and it's in better condition, so that extra you paid is 20 quid is way worth it.
Yeah.
And mine, I'm still happy with, even though the PVD is wrecked, need new crystal, all that kind of stuff. But 42 quid for a piece of history.
Absolutely, and that's the reason why I got into collecting was to pick up pieces that meant something during its life, like the early Seiko I've got from 1961. It was the first
sea urchin, right?
The seahorse.
Seahorse.
Basically, it was one of the very first waterproof watches that Seiko did. It started off. They introduced a automatic version very soon after, and with the dial shock system that they introduced again. It just brought new technology into the watch world that the likes of Rolex and Omega and a lot of the other Swiss brands just weren't interested in.
No.
They were very traditionalists and didn't want to take risks, whereas Seiko wanted to move the whole industry forward.
Yeah.
Using new technology and introducing it into the watches, and maybe making mistakes during that time, but it still moved things forward. Whereas if we'd all stuck with the traditionalists, we would still be with our manual wind movements. That as soon as you knock it, the thing is completely buggered. You know, and you've got to have, you've got to get it serviced. With the Seiko movements, you can go 10, 15 years without even having to touch it.
My Seiko 5 I had was from the 70s. It had never been serviced. It still runs strong at 2 seconds plus a day. 2 seconds. My SKX runs a bit worse than that. I think my SKX runs at like 3 seconds a day.
Yeah.
And this watch from the 70s managed to outperform my brand new SKX.
Yeah, I mean,
That says it all.
yeah, I mean, they knew how to make movements.
I think in terms of the watch community, and there's so many people now who do, and I'm glad about that, but there's a lot of people who still don't give Seiko the credit they deserve, in my opinion. Seiko have done so much good for the industry, and still are.
Yeah.
Look at the Grand Seiko line.
Yeah.
I have heard people who have them, who also have the Swiss Luxury that cost 10 times more, some of them, like pure white gold Vacheron Constantins and stuff like that, and they say they prefer the Grand Seiko.
Yeah.
Build quality, finish, everything is better than the Swiss. I've heard them say better than the Swiss.
Yeah, yeah, and when
For £4,000.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at the dials and the movements, the work that has gone into
Made by an actual watchmaker.
Yeah, you know, you see videos now that Seiko are introducing, which again, it's very rare that you see the Swiss promoting.
Let's just tag Hoya.
Yeah, I mean,
nothing bad against tag Hoya,
but at least they're showing the you know, the people that are interested that this is how we make our watches, and it would. I'm sure.
I like to use this comparison. It's like the bodybuilding community. For those of you that know what I'm talking about, back in Arnold days, Arnold was like the first person who came along and really publicised bodybuilding in terms of what they do.
Yeah.
Before that, it was very secretive. It was very sort of just the old garages where they'd be working out, and you wouldn't know how they did it. No one knew.
No.
Now bodybuilding is so public. They own brands. They own. Like their name is plastered all over their own products. They're very public. They show what they do. They show their workouts, their meal plans. That was never a thing back then.
Yeah.
And the reason it had to change was, as far as I'm aware, and I don't know how true this is, the Mr. Olympia and all that sort of stuff, and the competitions were going down in popularity. The sport was going down, and they had to bring it back up somehow. And then comes along Arnold, this guy who was just so incredible. He was a great speaker. He just knew how to like present himself and push the sport forward with him. It's like boxing and Muhammad Ali. That guy could talk and he pushed the sport forward.
Yeah.
And this is what the watch companies need to think about. You know, as much as I have to be honest, I'm not a huge fan of Tag Heuer, but I respect their marketing, and I put it mostly down to Jean-Claude Biver.
Yeah.
He is a mastermind. He was the one who found Blancpain, right? Like he refounded them. He bought the name for like 14,000 Swiss francs and sold it for like 40 million Swiss francs or whatever. It's something ridiculous.
Yeah.
And it's because he knows how to market. He knows how to push things forward, and he understands to push a brand, they've got to market. And I think Theo and Harris recently did a video, Christian, about Rolex and their Instagram. Did you see it?
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
Great video. Go watch it. He says it perfectly. They need to try harder. They're doing good, but they need to do better. Because we live in a digital age, and these companies are so old-fashioned that it's going to pull their brand down.
Yeah.
And they just need to realise that. Like I said, the bodybuilding one is a perfect example. Boxing as well.
Yeah.
That was a very secretive sort of thing before Muhammad Ali.
Yeah, I mean, it was always, I mean, there was Henry Cooper in Britain that did so well for boxing. And it wasn't televised as much as it should have been. But then Muhammad Ali came along, very charismatic, and he sold the sport. Yeah, and the same with Arnie. He just had this gift of promoting himself and the sport together. And
look at him now.
Yeah.
Like, look at Arnold now. Look at everything he's achieved.
Yeah, I mean
TV. What was it in America? What's it called?
Well, he's
not senator.
Governor.
Governor. That's it.
Yeah,
Governor.
Governor of was it California?
Yeah, California. Like.
I mean, if he was a American citizen,
probably be president.
He would have been president.
Yeah.
That would have happened, but because of obviously being is it
Austrian?
Is it Austrian?
I think he's Austrian.
Yeah.
I think.
Then obviously. He can't be president, which is a shame because
he'd make a great president.
I think he would certainly sort out with his film history. It certainly sort out all what's going on in the world.
It'd be like the olden days where the king would actually be on the battlefield with them, wouldn't
yeah, that's right. You know, it's something that people would look up to. And,
Talking about Arnold, he's into his watches, isn't he?
Yeah,
He's
that's
big into
right.
his watches. Although he's got quite a few pictures with Invictus.
Yeah,
I don't know if they're paying him to do that.
I think so.
I reckon he'd be a Panerai.
Probably, yeah. I would have thought.
I think actually talking about that before we continue, I think TGV and Federico did a video about that. So we're not going to talk any more about it in case someone goes, "You're stealing that."
Yeah, no,
always happens.
Yeah.
But yeah, back to the thing of collecting.
Yeah.
Huge tangent. This is good. We're just gonna instead of that, I'm probably gonna name this Kibble Senior and Kibble Junior Talk Watches. That's what we're gonna call this. It's no longer about the collecting side, but what do you? So the next piece you think you're gonna get is the Man on the Moon.
That's the goal. That's what I want to save up for. Being born in '68, I was too young to actually remember the moon landing, but I grew up.
The Area 51 landing.
Yeah,
I'm joking.
yeah.